Thank you to Jaquan Jones, Luita Uwu, King J, and Pop Pop for becoming first tier members. Also, big shout out to Sam Cross for becoming a second tier member.
And hey, if you want to become a member, scroll down from the video and click the join button, or alternatively scroll down to this link. Members get videos anywhere from 24 hours to a week early. Now let's get on to the video.
Yo, what is up, people? This is part 8 to What If Naruto Was Born 8 years early. This is a series that I started back in December and even at the start of my channel before that, but I had redone it initially in September, and I'm finally coming back with it. Part 7 was released 12 hours ago, so if you haven't seen it, go check it out, and part 9 is gonna drop in 12 hours. We're gonna be grinding this series until it is done, and also I got some OP things waiting for y'all at the end of this part. OP Naruto story, part 8. Let's get it. Roll that beautiful intro. Still have times are about to get peaceful. Not much is going to happen from here on out because the war had seemingly ended, meaning that obviously we had Minato killing 2,000 shinobi, we had the 7 ninja swordsmen taken out, and we also have a newly found alliance with the Rain Village because of Danzo coming to terms with Hanzo the Salamander, meaning the Leaf is pretty much in a winning situation. Sure, the Sand wasn't really touched for their alliance with the Leaf early on, but they're not really above anyone else. They have their Jinchuriki and all, who's kinda old, so they can't really rely on him, and they also don't really have that large of a military force currently. So they're kinda just hanging back. After the 5 Kage summit was called, all the villages would have basically given up the war, meaning that technically the Leaf is the winners, but how they made it happen is to basically say that no matter how it went down, it's a tie, even though it's not. The Leaf kind of won, but whatever. The Leaf had started negotiations while in the 5 Kage summit with the Mist, who had no current Kage, meaning it was council members there. These council members were already in a lot of stress, and when the Leaf persisted to continue the war if they did not relinquish the 3 tails, the Mist kind of had to fold, because without the 3 tails they didn't really have a weapon, because they failed when implanting the 3 tails into Rin, and they also failed when it came to the 7 ninja swordsmen. They really lost more in this war than any other village. So after accepting it, they would basically just disband. The Leaf would go back to peaceful times, not really wanting to cause war, and the other villages would slowly plot to once again start something to defeat the Leaf. Obviously, still allied, we have the Land of Stone and the Land of Clouds, or I don't really know what it's called, the Cloud Village. I'm just gonna say that. Stone Village and the Cloud Village. They still gonna be teamed up. They still gonna try and find ways to get rid of the Leaf. But here's where things are going to be off. We still have 2 years before the initial start of Naruto. So what's going to go on? The war had just stopped and missions aren't going to be as common as you thought. Maybe by the few rogues that are scattered around. It seemed to have been a time of peace, but it wasn't quite so. All the villages didn't quite retract, having obviously the Stone and Cloud still have some spies in the Leaf. So what they decide to do early on is try to get an Uchiha and a Hyuga to try and get more people with doji to do their scientific experiments, all that. So something's gonna happen. A random Hyuga will be kidnapped and maybe experimented on. I'm gonna let the Hyuga go and let that Hyuga be captured, but obviously the cage bird seal would activate and that Hyuga would die. This is how I'm going to say they know about the cage bird seal, knowing to go after a noble, all that type of stuff, which would trigger events later on in Naruto. Also, when it comes to kidnapping Uchiha, they kind of wanted a mature Uchiha that already unlocked their 3 Tomoe and possibly their Mangekyo. Within the leaf, there are few shinobi that had unlocked the Mangekyo, and even fewer known. The obviously most known ones would be Fugaku Uchiha, and then the other would be Shishui's dad in this specific case. Shishui's dad had suffered some really bad injuries within the war after a strong battle, and is in pretty bad condition. He can barely walk and move after a large battle with a platoon of about 100 shinobi, and he's just living out his days in the leaf. It's not like he doesn't have enough money to survive. And this is when things will go down. Naruto and Shishui was in a training session at the Namikaze compound / Uzumaki compound, because yes, I'm going to be giving them something called a compound, blah blah blah, clan house, whatever you want to call it. That's where they're going to be training. They would have scheduled to meet up with Shishui's parents to have a picnic somewhere in a field, blah blah blah, training ground somewhere. And this is when something will happen. The spy that was sent to kidnap an Uchiha with 3 Tomo would have found out about Shishui's dad possibly having the Mangekyo and also having suffered really bad injuries. So he'd obviously make Shishui's father his target. It had not been too long since the war was over, so Shishui's dad is still in that position, barely healed at all, and Shishui's mother isn't really a fighter, she's just a normal civilian. So by the time this shinobi attacks them, they're pretty much defenseless. Naruto and Shishui would land to only see Shishui's mother's throat being slit. Shishui would scream out as his eyes start bleeding as he charges forward to attack the shinobi. He would get into a hand-to-hand combat situation with the shinobi and seemingly overpower them until he gets off-guarded. He gets stabbed seemingly in the heart. They don't necessarily know if it landed, but Shishui's father would scream out as he activated his EMS. He would basically scream for Naruto to get Shishui to a doctor, which Naruto was shocked more than anyone that Shishui of all people got stabbed. He would mindlessly grab Shishui and start jumping as Shishui's father and the other shinobi would fight. Naruto, after getting Shishui to a doctor, would decide to return to see how if Shishui's dad had won or not. He had used his Mangekyo and killed the opponent, but got stabbed in the gut in the same time. Naruto had taken a little too long to be able to help him, and he started bleeding out. There's no way of saving him. Naruto would get there as he coughs up blood, and Naruto would have a quick altercation between each other. He would tell Naruto, or instruct Naruto, to take his eyes, put them in a jar as he goes through some hand seals, summoning a crow with the jar. He'd tell Naruto to put it in there, and then just wait till Shishui has properly unlocked his Mangekyo, then give him this. He doesn't want him to be rejected. This will give him the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, or the EMS. Now, Naruto would scream out in anger. One of the people he considered family had died, and he doesn't even want to know in what type of pain Shishui will be after knowing he just lost both his mother and father. Naruto would cry as he took out a somewhat father figure eyes and putting them in a jar. He'd then jump away to Shishui's bedroom, where he'd spend the night. Shishui would eventually wake up after being healed and would ask Naruto what happened. Naruto would quickly once again tear up, telling Shishui exactly what went down. He didn't make it in time. Shishui didn't even cry. His face seemed straight, but it wasn't. Internally, he was bawling his eyes out. He was in such deep shock that he couldn't even bring himself to cry. He just lost his parents. Like, what is he gonna do after this? Who's gonna care about him? As he passes out once again. Not too long after this, some Anbu would appear at the bedroom, trying to figure out what happened to Naruto. The Uchiha clan have some specific rules regarding the Sharingan, as the Sharingan shall be removed and returned to either a family member or the clan head. Shishui being alive means that they hope Shishui has his eyes. Naruto would say that yes, Shisui has, and would ask them not to bother Shisui as he explained exactly how the entire altercation went. The Amo officers would leave, having thought they had gotten all the information, while Shisui would eventually wake up, leave the hospital fully healed, but mentally he'd be unstable. He would not even think about taking the Sharingan his dad had left behind and planting it in his own eyes to activate his EMS. He didn't really do this for the fact of EMS. He did this because he wanted to have a piece of his dad a part of him. He didn't really know what to do with his eyes, so he just put them back into the jar. Naruto would see him do this and confront him when he had an idea. He would ask Naruto to implant his old Sharingan within himself. But that is going to be it for this part, guys. I really did hope y'all enjoyed that little part at the end. Yes, we're giving Naruto the Sharingan. Yes, he does not yet have the Nine Tails, but he will, and it will become a lot more effective. I think y'all will really like how I go about him having the Sharingan in this What If. So if y'all have not yet, smash the like, comment down below, and subscribe. This has been your boy Six. Peace.
1, 2, 3, let's go!
Subscribe for more.
Yada yada does it.